Okay, so welcome guys, welcome to the video. In this video, mainly what we'll be covering is, we'll be covering the Wipro written communication test and the strategies that you should be following. So let's begin. Right. So first of all, the Wipro written communication test is basically, graded by an AI system. So obviously there are 5 to 6 lakh people giving Wipro exam every year. They cannot afford to have manually an individual checking your written communication or the essay that you've written, right? So in this case, the AI system is used. What we are going to tell you in this video is we are going to tell you how the AI system does the grading, on what parameters is the AI system giving you marks, and how you can fool the AI system altogether, right? Post that, we'd also be giving you a sample essay that a student has written, and we'll be telling you that what are the positive things that he's done on which he's getting good marks, and what are the mistakes that he's made or she's made in the sample essay that she's written for written communication exam, right? And then post that, we'll also tell you about the importance of diction, structuring, and signpost word, which are one of the most important topics for which the AI system is going to give you marks. So make sure that you have a pen and paper or a notebook to make notes. So let's begin with the video here. So firstly, the AI system, just a bit introduction about that. The AI system is called as Intellimetric. It has been developed for GMAT. Intellimetric is a registered entity, which is very, very good AI system. In fact, what Intellimetric system website says is, for a given essay or for a given paragraph that is written, right, the human is only able to identify 4 out of 10 errors that is made, and the AI system is able to understand, comprehend about 9 out of 10 parameters that are there. So the AI system is better than a human being. Not just it identifies very factual information or very factual data or errors that you are making, it is also able to understand the meaning of what you are saying or meaning of what the paragraph is saying and comprehend the meaning out of it with the AI system much better than a human being. So even if a human being is grading your AI system or the essay that you have written, the AI system will be able to find out more mistakes, will be able to understand and comprehend the meaning better than a human being. The same software is used by GMAT. So we'll basically would be giving you a few examples on how the AI system gives you marks and what are the maximum marks given by AI system, and what are the parameters on which the AI system is going to give you marks. So first of all, there's a definitive approach that you should be following, for which you get positive 10 marks. Either you should be supporting the idea or you should be against it. You cannot jump in against the topic and then say a few things for it. You have to take a definitive stand. For example, if I'm saying that is social media good or bad, in that case, I need to have a definitive stand that either it should be bad or it should be good. I cannot jump here in between. The conclusion of mine should be definitive, that okay, it is bad or okay, it is good. Maybe I can articulate a few things which are positive and negative for both, but at least in the conclusion it should be a definitive stand. So I'm going to cover a little bit more about it. So you need to follow a definitive approach, right? Moving further, the grading system also has punctuation, capitalization, etc., which has no positive marking, but it reduces your marks. So out of every error that you are making, there is -1/2 marks that is given for you, right? So if you are making, let's say, 10 mistakes, in that case you are going to get -5 marks. If you are going to make or 20 mistakes, in that case you are going to get -10 marks. If you are going to make 21 mistakes, in that case also you are going to get -10 marks, because the maximum negative marking is capped at -10. Excuse me. So for example, in this particular sentence that I have written, so after however, there should be a comma, which the AI system is correctly able to identify. Then you are giving the example here, identifying the interest of the students, to work upon identifying the interest of the students. So the AI system is perfectly able to know, okay, there should be an apostrophe before it and after it. A lot of students forget to mention that, right? Then what the AI system is able to understand that, okay, the first letter should have had been started with a capital letter. If you do not start it with the capital letter, it is going to reduce marks, and then obviously a full stop. right? So in the editor that you're going to get, you make sure that you properly enter all the formatting correctly. You do not make any punctuation and capitalization error, or you're going to get -1/2 marks for each and every error that you're making, right? And then this paragraphization. So, what we would generally suggest you is write a paragraph of at least 3 paragraphs in the essay that you're writing. The first paragraph should ideally be about introduction, right? The next paragraph could be about, the body, about arguments that you're making, about examples that you're giving, about the factual information that you're providing, about the experience of the people if you're trying to include that, about deciding, argumentating, giving positives and both negatives, and then finally the conclusion. So here, positive and negative you can maintain in the body, right? But in the conclusion, you have to have a definitive stand. Okay, it is bad or it is good, or whatever the essay tells you to do, right? So ideally three paragraphs, but what I would say that at least use anywhere between 3 to 7 paragraphs. If you use less than 3 paragraphs, in that case there is going to be a negative marking. We do not know if -1 or -2, all of that, but yes, there's a negative marking. If you use more than 7 paragraphs, obviously there's negative marking in that. We're not sure about how much negative marking in that case, right? So moving further here, then you have spellings as mistakes. So for each spelling that you're mentioning incorrectly, obviously the AI system is going to give you -1/2 negative marking. The negative marking is capped at -20 marks. So obviously you can make at max of 40 spelling mistakes. If you make 41, in that case, obviously -20 marks. If you make 42, then -20 marks. So what suggestion I would like to give here is, if you do not know the spelling of a particular word, if you're even a little unsure that, okay, if it's the correct spelling or not, probably use a different word. What a lot of students do, they try to use a lot of fancy words, which they are unsure about the meaning also, which they are unsure about the context also, which they are unsure about the spelling also. Do not do that. The AI is not going to give you better marks for using fancy words. So though it is, but I'll also tell you, I think in the next slide, how that happens. But necessarily do not use fancy words. A simple essay is perfect, no problem, but do not make spelling mistakes. If you know fancy words, you can use them, but be confident about those spellings, and also the context, because the AI system is also able to understand, okay, what is the context. You cannot just simply write "kaho na pyar hai" types in English and then make no spelling mistakes, make no grammar mistakes, and be perfect. Obviously it is able to understand juice of what you are trying to say very perfectly, right? So moving further, here whereas I was telling you, okay, spellings and using fancy words, but necessarily do not use fancy words. Just listen to me here. So there are 10 marks for diction for the Intellimetric system that they have, right? So what diction basically means is, for example, if you're using 400 words in the whole paragraph, right? And out of those 400 words, 250 words that you've used are unique. So for example, if you use the 50 times, right, try avoid using the, right? If you're using is a lot of time, try avoid using that, right? So for example, if anybody who's written 300 words unique out of 400, his diction is better. Better diction gives you higher marks. So try to use maximum variety of words. Excuse me. So this is what is going to give you better marks. You can use simple words which are unique, which have not been used in the paragraph, and then in that case you are going to get better marks. It is not that, okay, fancy words are going to give you better marks only, right? Obviously you may end up using fancy word to increase your diction, but again, you should be sure about the spelling. So what I would suggest, write the whole paragraph and then reiterate upon the paragraph, edit the paragraph, and then probably you can use the synonyms of a particular word to increase your diction, to increase the number of variety of words that you're having, right? And then the structuring is also given as 10 marks. So the AI system is able to understand what is written where and how it is written. So for example, it is able to understand, okay, the introduction should be there. The next thing that the AI system is expecting is, here you are making arguments about that topic. Here you are discussing the topic. Here you are exploring the topic, or probably you are giving examples. Giving examples is also important. Giving experiences of people is important. Giving factual information about the topic is important. For example, the Wikipedia page says that these many people were killed, or the news reported by Times of India says, or the article written by the government of India, this department says that, okay, these are the statistics. So the AI system is able to understand, okay, here you are giving factual information. So arguments, explanation, factual information, and examples is what should be there in the middle section of the paragraph. So the first paragraph topic, probably the second, third, fourth, or fifth could be about the arguments. And it is not necessary. Obviously, there are lesser number of words that you have to write, not too much. So, I would say anywhere between 3 to 7 paragraphs is okay. But ideally, if I were in your position, I would have written only 4 paragraphs. Right. Finally, the last paragraph should be about conclusion. You should directly give it to the AI system. Okay, this is what I'm concluding by directly saying, okay, I conclude, or in conclusion, this is the final idea. Okay, so they are looking for those keywords, signpost word, which I'll also cover later in the video. Right. Okay. It's exactly here it is. So what are signpost words? Signpost words are, for example, although, then nevertheless, either or, either or, neither nor, because, however. So these are the examples of signpost word. You can Google signpost word and you will get the list of all the signpost words that are there. What signpost word necessarily convey the meaning is that, okay, you are trying to shift the idea of what you were going to say, or you are trying to emphasize on a particular thing. So for example, the pollution has been constantly increasing in Delhi from the last 5 years. However, the latest government stat says this. So what you are focusing upon a particular stat before and after. So that is what the AI system looks for. Okay, they've used a signpost word. So okay, there is a better information, or there is a factual information that they are trying to give. So what I would suggest is at least use 10 signpost words in your paragraph that you are writing, and you can Google what signpost words are. You are going to get 5 marks for using signpost words. Okay. So again, then the next is length. So ideally, what Wipro says is that you should write between 100 to 300 paragraph. But what we assume from Intellimetric system that the length caps are 200 to 300, and the maximum. So this is also negative marking type. You are not going to get positive marks for it, but you are going to be penalized for it. So for example, if you write more than 310 words, -1/2. If you write 320 words, in that case, -1. If you write, let's say, minus or 360 words, in that case, -3. So every 10 words, you're going to get -1/2. So same goes for negative. If you write -190, in that case, or if you write 190 words, -1/2. Right. So the length should be there. One more thing, so I'll just basically discuss about the hacks now. Later on, I'll just tell you one point that I forgot to mention in the slide. So after you write the whole paragraph, you should have this edit and improve strategy, which basically says that, okay, you write the whole thing, but after that, you edit it and improve it. Based upon, you try to proofread it, try to identify if I've made any punctuation errors, if I've made any capitalization error, if I've made any grammatical error, if I've made any spelling error. So that is proofreading, right? So proofreading is the one thing that you should do. The second thing is you should try to improve as well. So for example, include a larger variety of words. Probably if you see that this word is being used a lot, maybe I use a synonym of a particular word and improve my diction. And probably I'll just improve my diction as well as the signpost words that I'm using. So, two laddus at the same time, right? So this is what it should happen. Ideally, for the 20 minutes that you have, write the whole paragraph within the first 10 to 12 minutes, maybe take 15 minutes, no problem. But I would have taken 10 to 12 minutes. And then use the rest 10 to 8 minutes for editing and improving, and wherein I'm proofreading, wherein I'm increasing the diction, wherein I'm increasing the use of signpost word, wherein I'm structuring it really well. So this would be the best hack, because a lot of people say, okay, sir, I wrote very good essay, but then also I didn't get selected because you were not able to fool the AI. I'm telling you, fool the AI. That is better, right? Then I want you to take the screenshot of this page. So this is the summary of everything that is there in as an analysis, and the number of marks that you're going to get, and the negative marking or the positive marking of each. One thing that I forgot to mention here is grammar, and that's my bad. I did not include that in slide, but then this is basically 10 marks. So this is not ideally, earlier it was negative marking, but now they're going to give you full 10 marks for grammar. And if you make mistakes, then lesser number of marks. We're not aware about on how many grammatical mistakes you're going to get, how many negative marking, but then 10 marks for grammar, that is we are 100% sure. Right. So take a screenshot of this before you attempt the exam. I just go back to your phone, check all of these points, refresh upon it, and then write the paragraph, including or write the paragraph, making sure that you are following all of these analysis summary. Excuse me. Right. So let's go ahead. And basically, this is a sample essay that I wanted to take. One of my students has written it. So there are a few positive things that she has done, and then there are a few negative things or negative markers here. So the first negative marker that she's made here is obviously she was writing on a Word document. She was not aware how the Wipro editor in the exam is going to be. Right. So what she has done here, she has included points, right? So which I say is good when you're writing it in probably as an email or on an editor, but Wipro editor will not provide you these bullets writing, or will not provide you editing bullets, will not provide you bold or italics and all of that, right? So what you can do is, rather than writing these bullets, write them as a paragraph, and then this is perfect. Well, this is perfect how she is written, just that no bullets would be there. That is what I'm trying to explain you. The second large mistake that she's made, this is very long. Okay, she should ideally write lesser number of words. These are approximately 400 number of words. So she's getting penalized here. A few other things that I'll tell you in the meanwhile. So let's go through the whole paragraph. So initially what she's saying, media has become the limelight for the entertainment industry. Okay, she's introducing the topic. The AI system is able to understand. Perfect. It provides information on each and every aspect related to society. It also aids the dissemination. Again, what she has done here, she has written the wrong spelling of dissemination. So I had, I was a little harsh on her. I told her, okay, I perfectly told you in our online classes not to use words where you know not the meaning of. I have corrected it. But then again, to impress, she has used a very heavy word. Then again, nook and corner of the globe. This is perfect. This was the correct spelling. So she's trying to increase her diction, but she's made an error here. That is using a word that she does not know the spelling of. So, probably use a different word that you do not know the spelling of. These are the types of media. So, for example, wherein I told you, wherein you have to give examples, wherein you have to give, references. So, the AI system is able to understand, okay, you are going to give references here. So, it gives you positive some marks, that these are the types, such as examples are given. So, again, positives, use examples as much as you can. Right. And then again, the following ways are which will influence the society. The following is a signpost word. And I think there was a signpost word earlier, such as was a signpost word here. So obviously she's doing that. And then she's giving examples and references here. Right. Which is very good. Media is a source of entertainment. Media can work effectively. So she's argumentating and exploring the topic. So which is perfect here. It is a known fact that media has a bias toward parties and then tend to manipulate information, try to project only one side of a coin. Finally, we can conclude that media is a double-edged sword. It has both advantages and disadvantages. If used properly, it can be an asset, or it can cause social upheaval. Now, this is perfect. If I was writing it, or if I was reading it, I would have said perfect. That is a perfect thing that you've written. But however, the AI system wants you to have a definitive stand, right? So in that case, some negative marking would have had been there, because what she's saying, finally, we can conclude double-edged. And sword, it has both advantages and disadvantages. Do not do that. Take a definitive stand, right? So I would have reframed the same sentence and mean the same thing and then also fooled the AI. How I would have done that is, media can be double-edged sword, can have its own advantages and disadvantages, but it should be used properly. So in my conclusion, I would like to say that media is negative if there is no overview by the government, if there is no, no transparency, if there is no agency which is, doing an overview, which is, which is trying to see what wrong things and right things are happening. Right. So in that case, I'm saying, okay, it is bad, but I've said it is good and bad before. But in my conclusion, I'm clearly saying that I'm having a definitive stand. It is bad. Right. So play around with words like that. So this would be really good in that case, because your conclusion should be definitive. Again, not perfect, but then the AI system is judging upon that parameter. Right. So, reframe the same sentences accordingly. You can do it perfectly. One of the few things that she's done perfectly. Her diction was great. A few spelling errors. I think one spelling error was there, so I had told her that. The structuring was very good, but then again, she had one problem. The introduction was perfect. The middle paragraph wherein exploring and argumentating and giving examples was perfect. But at the very end, the conclusion where definitive stand was not there, and it is of 10 marks. So, you know, it is very important to have a definitive stand. So that was